Hello vinyl community, Bradley here. A few months ago I made a video about Blue Note 10-inch EPs that were originally released in the mid-50s before Blue Note made the switch over to 12-inch vinyl. I love Blue Note, as you probably figured that out, and I really like these 10-inch EPs. A lot of it's a visual thing with me. They look like miniature albums. But the music on them usually contain maybe 22, 23 minutes of music as compared with an album, 36, 37. So it's probably maybe 2/3 of the music on these. So anyhow, the first album, or first EP I am showing, it is Hank Mobley. It's the Hank Mobley Quartet. This was released probably around 1955, I believe. Hank Mobley was one of the pioneers of hard bop. And on this album, you've got Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Horace Silver on piano, Doug Watkins on bass, and Art Blakey on drums. So this is, it's almost an early version of Horace Silver and the Jazz Messengers, because a lot of these guys played in the Jazz Messengers. The sound quality is immaculate on this one, very good, and Hank Mobley and hard bop, they go together so very well. So highly recommend. 2 thumbs up. This next album, this is more of a bebop, which I am not extremely into bebop, but it's Miles Davis. It's called Young Man with a Horn, 10-inch EP. Now this was released, I'm going to say early 50s. It's got J.J. Johnson, Jackie McLean, Gil Coggins, Oscar Pettiford, and Kenny Clark. Most of the Miles Davis albums that you may be familiar with are either hard bop or more of a cool jazz, and then he went on to all kinds of stuff. Now this is what Miles sounded like in the bebop era. So very interesting, not bad. Next EP, we go to probably around 1955, in that era. Horace Silver Quintet. And like that Hank Mobley album, this would be probably considered an early version of Horace Silver and the Jazz Messengers. It's got Kenny Dorham on trumpet, Hank Mobley on sax, Horace Silver piano, Doug Watkins on bass, Art Blakey on drums. So it's got a lot of members as that Hank Mobley EP that I just showed you. Horace Silver was one of the founders of hard bop. Excellent pianist. I always like his stuff, and this continues that tradition. This next EP, I had never really heard of this guy, but I saw it listed in the 10-inch EPs, and hey, thought I'd give it a try. The title of the album is New Faces, New Sounds. It's Gil Malay. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Probably more of a, now this was probably early 50s, I don't know, 52 or 3 maybe. It's almost like a little bit of cool jazz, Gil was the saxophonist. It's a quintet slash sextet. And Gil was a very talented artist. He actually designed some album covers for Miles Davis and Sonny Rollins, I believe, and some other people. And I'm not really sure which album covers those are. I'll have to investigate that. Be interesting. But and actually, I think Gil introduced Rudy Van Gelder to Alfred Lyons, who was with the founder of Blue Note. So, and Rudy went on to record probably 99.9% of all Blue Note recordings when he was the engineer. So that was kind of interesting. This is very good. I like it. Next EP is the Sal Salvador Quintet. There we go. Now, Sal Salvador, I guess you would consider him a jazz guitarist, jazz bebop guitarist. So he predates Grant Green and probably Kenny Burrell by a little bit, I would imagine, because those two guys were known more for their hard bop stuff. Sal Salvador. That name sounded a little familiar to me. It sounded like he was a South American. But he was born and raised, he's an American, he was born and raised in Connecticut and Massachusetts or somewhere. When I was younger, my parents bought a used Lowry organ. And in the bench, there was a lot of sheet music and music books. And I actually remember there was a guitar book in there, How to Play Guitar, by Sal Salvador. Sal went on to, he wrote a lot of these music books on how to play guitar. So, very talented. And this is good stuff. I like it. Next album, this is a bebop. Recorded in the late 40s, 48, but I don't think it was released till probably early mid-50s on Blue Note. It's the Fats Navarro Memorial album. Because Fats, I believe he died probably at the age of 27, I think. So he died fairly young, and this is a memorial album. This is, and he played trumpet. This is a bebop album. I'm not overly into bebop, but sounds good. Gotta have some Fats. Next album is entitled Wizard of the Vibes. Who do you think that would be? How about Milt Jackson? He went on to be in the Modern Jazz Quartet. So, this was recorded or released early mid-50s, 52 or 54, maybe 54. It has Lou Donaldson on here. It has John Lewis and Percy Heath, who they were members, along with Milt Jackson, of the Modern Jazz Quartet, just a little bit later, and Kenny Clark on here. So I suppose you could call this early Modern Jazz Quartet music. Vibes, very well recorded. The vibes sound really good. if you like modern jazz quartet, pick it up. This last EP, I had never really heard of this artist. I had just seen her name on some Blue Note, early Blue Note albums. She was German. Her name is, I don't know how you pronounce it, Jutta Hipp, Hipp, Jutta. This is a German jazz. Now, the first time I heard this, I did not like it. The recording, like the way they mic'd everything up, it sounds like a little old-fashioned to me. But I continued listening, and boy, she was a very good jazz pianist. She lived I guess, a full life, interesting life. Like I said, she was a German, and after Germany lost the war, she got pregnant by an American GI, and he was a black dude, so that caused problems. And she was, she was about half starving after the war, as were a lot of Germans. They were in really bad shape. So anyhow, she went on, and I think she lived till maybe it was 2000 or something. So I probably wouldn't, if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't buy it. But actually, there's some really good piano on here. Not too bad. So anyhow, those are my Blue Note 10-inch EPs. I don't know if there's that many more available from what I already have, and I don't know if I want to continue building this collection up or not. But so anyhow, we'll have another sip of Goose IPA. So, you folks out there, have a good day, and hope you tune in to my next video. So long.